Yeah, it looks much better on stream. It's still really hard for me to see which is the idea, but that's why I shouldn't be out doing stuff at night. But I am. Alright, before we start chopping down trees, we're going to do the walk around. What I would probably use is probably just make a command line application. More than likely I'd just use C# because it's what I'm the most proficient in. Not that that's correct or wrong or anything, but all I would do is I'd take it, have it write to a text file, and then the file, like Stream Deck just sees the text, or I'm sorry, OBS, not even Stream Deck, OBX, I can just say, hey, put whatever's in that text file on the screen. And so then when I push the button on my Stream Deck, all it would effectively be doing is then running the little program. It will check. If it does something like steals focus or something when I do that, then I'll find a different way. But as far as like APIs and going to that, certain stuff it does. Yeah, if I have text files, it'll watch the text file and it'll auto-update the labels. I don't have them up, but I had labels for the person with the I'm blanking, the most gifted subs, and a person who has, you know, chipped in the most bits. But I haven't put those back up. But that's how they work: is they read off of text files, and then as you watch stream, you could run an application like Streamlabs makes their Streamlabs label application that all it does is as people donate and follow and host, it updates various text files in a folder to, you know, have whatever text you decide to have there, and then you just point OBS at those text files to put the labels on the screens. We are getting exceedingly hot. Yeah, that is... Why are we getting that hot from chopping trees in like 20-something degrees? I know I'm wearing some layers, but that's absurd. Burnso says, I was thinking auto it just to interface with OBS text line. May make a spreadsheet too, and it auto updates the text files. Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely, like, there's applications out there who could certainly handle it. That's weird. So now our temperature is going down very rapidly even though I'm chopping trees. So I don't know what's going on that suddenly our heat just spiked real hard. Like, we were chopping trees, and don't get me wrong, that does heat you up. But the rate our temperature was going up was way beyond what we'd expect. Maybe it's before our clothing were soaking wet, because we had such high insulation the heat was trapped in, but now that we're soaking wet, it's not as insulated. A burning sun says, I mean, there's obviously tons of things that would do it, just wondering what would be reasonable for this kind of application. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the beauty of it, is like, there probably isn't a solution that's like, this is the way you should do it. It's like, I mean, honestly, anything that can update the file to update the label is good enough. Whether I write something 2 seconds that just writes to a, that runs a command line application or whatever. Hell, for all I know, OBS might, or for all I know, Stream Deck might have a thing where I can say write to file and just like increment a number. I know there's a body around here somewhere. I can't find it though, to drop these axes on. If we go close to the car, I know we'll see it. Make sure we have a weapon out. Oh, there's one. Yep, batch file is exactly what I'm thinking. Just literally a batch file that all that would be in it is it would just say, this file, you know, load, look at the number there, increment by 5, write to file. Like, I wouldn't even have it parsed just to write that one, because we're talking one whole thing. I just basically say blow out the entire file and just replace it. It's fine. And I could have it read off my spreadsheet and all that, but there's no need to. Like, that's wholly unnecessary. Because, I mean, I could get to the point that if I really want to get technical with it, which I'm not going to, I could actually have it read the Google Sheet, find the total count from the Google Sheet, you know, and then do it. It wouldn't even save me that much labor because I still have to go in and record the results in the Google Sheet manually. But I'm mostly looking to save having to go into Streamlabs, pull up the label, and then do the math myself, and then adjust the label, or remember to copy paste it, or whatever. Hey, Karagam, how's it going? Since all the fish is starting to go stale, what we'll probably do is just grab a bunch of the fish out of the freezer and just cook it. Just eat fish for a while. Because we're also at that point where we're going to drop just below halfway of where we want. Because we want to keep it between 75 and 85. So now it's not a bad time to start hitting the fish. Okay, and there's all the logs we're looking for. Which then, today should be the last day we're dealing with the in-game storm and all that. Gentleman G says, Rawl, I was wondering, where do you need to make the interface smaller? Where do you go to make the interface smaller? Here, give me a moment, and I will show you. Just to pick up these logs, or planks real fast. Gargam says, I see your character has become a legit Chad. Yep. Okay. And what's that push-up redeems? So, if you look at the points I have on the stream, you can actually redeem push-ups. Yep, Whistlebeak just did, which means now I have to do 5 push-ups. So I'll first going to find this UI thing I was talking about. Where was that? Oh, you can adjust the font sizes here, all this stuff, the clock display size. So you got a bunch of different stuff here for size. I thought there was one for just UI bigger or smaller, but I'm not seeing it. And with how many games I replay, I'm probably just misremembering. But you're probably thinking about this stuff, where if you make your text bigger or smaller, then it'll make stuff on your screen bigger or smaller. I like to make it bigger for people with accessibility concerns, and just for people looking at phones, so I've made the text larger. Alright, let me get these push-ups and I'll be right back. But yeah, so it's kind of two things in one, where one thing was people were like, you should have it where you can redeem points so we can make you do push-ups. And completely independent and unknowing about any of that happening, because this would be a New Year's resolution thing, my brothers are like, you know, we all need to be in better shape. Like, not that any of us are in bad shape, but just people around of us have had all sorts of problems. It's like, you know, we should take better care of ourselves. And so as a New Year's resolution, and I don't know why we agreed to this because, I don't know, we don't think things through. We're like, okay, by the end of the year, 10,000 push-ups. And so it's just kind of funny that, like, the same time, both groups were like, push-ups. That's what should happen. So when I stop and I do the push-ups, that takes me an extra second afterwards. That's me documenting that I've done the 5 push-ups towards that 10,000 count. And then the total redeemed push-ups is how many push-ups chat has made me do, which is also the total number of push-ups I've done. Because that was the challenge, as I was streaming all the time. It's like, alright, if I'm going to get these push-ups done, I'm going to have to do them during stream somehow, and then just stepping away from stream to do push-ups feels like it wouldn't be exactly the best. So best of both worlds. Chat keeps me honest with the push-ups. And one thing I did go through that, if I do eventually hop on webcam and all that kind of stuff, that'll be in the other room, and if I do that, I've got a halfway finished wiring project to run network throughout the entire house, like in the walls and everything. My wife will appreciate that it'll make me finish said half-finished project. Because I do have the habit of starting major projects and then getting distracted by the next major project. Yes, I absolutely, because I learned very, very quickly from having hydrate available that if I did not limit it, someone would, you know, like, literally cause me to hurt myself levels of push-ups. And there's the hydrate. Because I don't even remember, there was 2 or 3 of them that would hop in here, and they would just hop in channel and just go, alright, and they would like cash out 20 hydrates in a row, and it's like, alright, well I'm not going to sit here and sip 20 times, that's like not practical, realistic. I will just finish my drink and then call that like the hydrate. You know, it's not sips or whatever, it is, you know, finishing the drink, and then I'm like, alright. And after that happened like the second time, like, okay, limits are in place. When you work with web services, you learn of the concept of rate limiting things. Alright, that's still fine. Because that's one of the ways you help protect yourself against stuff like DDoS attacks, is you sit there and rate limit all your stuff to what is the most, like the highest you could realistically go. Okay, maybe multiply that by 10 and no more. So if a single connection comes in and starts nuking it well past that, you're like, well, don't need to worry. That'll immediately get shut down. And then for your entire platform, you can add your own type of rate limits there. You have to be careful, because then you can effectively make your own DDoS, where your website just goes down if people come at it too fast. Which, for those not in the know of how that works, rate limiting when you're talking software tech, that is, if I were to, say, open Facebook, and Facebook had a rate limit on me, if I tried to open it a bunch of times really fast, after so many times it'd be like, nah, you need to wait. That would be a rate limit. But they can be important for protecting your services and keeping them running smooth, because if someone is hitting your services that hard and they have no reason to, you rate limit them so it doesn't impact all your other users. Plus, that can usually be a way to tell when something's not right going on. Like, if you're getting way too many calls to your database from some end, usually that can be a sign that something nefarious is happening. Like, you know, someone's trying to go through and copy your database by doing one query at a time to get all the information out of it. Not literally all, but all the information that you have exposed. Curious how fast I'm going through my nails. Because we only started with, I think it's 200 nails, so we started this backyard area. Yeah, we're already about halfway through. Uzbek says, sat down to eat some soup and chat, but couldn't put the spoon down. Yep, it happens. Soup is good. My plan for dinner is to, got some enchiladas I just need to pop in the oven. I just need to remember early enough to actually pop them in said oven. Gotta do that in a little bit less than an hour and a half. I gotta start them. I'm getting pretty excited about my last day at work being this Friday. I would say I'm not counting down the days, but I would be lying. So, you know, that's a thing. Take what you will of that. And no, it's not retirement. I wish. I wish so much. But, I mean, not really. I get bored to death. But still, I wish. Because then you could do exactly what you want, even if you're like still working. It'd be like the moment the things aren't on your terms, you'd be like, and deuces. And the thing I keep debating is if I'm putting a door on this side, or if I want to make it so you have to come in this room and go through here. Because I am thinking, like, this might stay an open space. I haven't figured out what I'm doing. I think I will not put a door here. Yeah, I think I'm going to not put a door here. And just make it like a back storage room kind of place. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, enchiladas, for those not familiar, so you take, like, if you're familiar with, like, Mexican food, and it's Tex-Mex, it's not actual Mexican food, so it's like United States take on Mexican food, which means more yellow cheese. But, it's, you take whatever your protein is, whether it's, like, chicken, or carnitas, or beef. But, so you take that, you put, you have it seasoned. Usually it's a seasoning based off of cumin. Usually I'll have stuff like onions, garlic, that kind of stuff as well. Cayenne pepper. And then you put, there's a red sauce that goes out of ranchero. I mean, you can have a bunch of different kinds of sauce. There's like mole, which is based on chocolate but isn't sweet. It's more in the bitter. You can have ranchero sauce, which is like a mildly spicy red sauce. There's a green sauce. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But you put that in there, you roll in a flour tortilla. But, smother the whole thing either with more sauce and or cheese. And just get everything melty and gooey and awesome. Alright, so there's a group of zombies down there. I'm going to back off and sit down for a moment before I engage them because... Oh, never mind. We're good. I can just use the knife. Yeah, sorry if I'm making people hungry, but... just describing what that is. And you can have all sorts of extra stuff like... You know, if you're into onions, you can do that. If you're into, like, tomatoes, lettuce, sometimes people with that, like, that kind of stuff. A lot of people put salsa with it. We said, Fenrir says, my mom makes good chicken enchiladas, rice, chicken, green onions, cheese and filling, cream and mushrooms, sour cream sauce poured over the top, pop it in the oven while on top, then sour cream. And then rhetorical answer says, oh, I was already hungry. I haven't eaten at all today. Now I just know what I want. I did mole fajitas a while back, and I'll probably do it again. Yeah, so that's actually, like, I'm personally not vegetarian. That's just, you know, I like meat. But my younger brother was vegetarian for a very long time, and I actually did a stint as vegetarian for a little while. But like, I give an example of vegetarian enchiladas of that is the correct way to do vegetarian, because, and I should preface that. Because you don't sit there and put like tofu or faux furky or anything else in it. You basically would replace, you know, the meat with having like a variety of beans and like corn and stuff like that to give you your texture. While still giving you, you know, some protein, that kind of stuff. And it's delicious and amazing and awesome. I just can't get behind soy products. I've tried so many, but just not my thing. I like a lot of vegetarian food, but the moment they try and do imitation me, I'm just like, just make it something else. You don't have to pretend it's something else. It's delicious. Just make it your own thing. And for people who do like it, awesome. Have at it. Have a great time. Like, don't let me ruin it for you in any way. Because I shouldn't be able to in the first place. Yeah. Yeah, mushroom burgers can be real good. Where it's effectively like just a giant seasoned portobello mushroom for your quote-unquote burger. Like, and I've had, there were lentil burgers, and like, to me, it's like the mistake is calling it a burger. What you've made is delicious, but it's not a burger. It's a different thing that is delicious. And Evel Knievel says, "Are the zombies still coming to you, or do you actually clearing the areas out?" For the most part, I'm having to go to the zombies. I did had just a minute ago I had to clear out 4 of them, but really only trivial amounts of zombies are showing up in my area now. Whereas before we had literally hundreds, and I mean, that's not, it's not the exaggeration form of literally. I mean, we would get 500 or 600 kills in a day from the number of zombies showing up. I did not check a radio, and that is a very dangerous thing for me to be doing right now. Oh, I physically can't pull my radio out because my inventory is too full to make room in my hand for the radio. So we're just going to miss this broadcast. Oh, gotcha. Like, interesting. So yeah, so you're just talking like a giant portobello mushroom, and then just, toss in like some sauce, some mozzarella, and whatever toppings you so wish. I can get down with that. Like, that'd certainly be like fork and knife kind of eating, but that's fine, whatever. The same is true if you've ever had it's called Brazilian style pizza. The way they do their toppings are amazing. They use just very, very exotic cheeses on it and just different things like you wouldn't expect, like egg in that, and it's really good. But most of the time, just because of the different bread and everything, it's not pick up and hold pizza. It's pick up and hold if you really desire to wear your pizza. Sopas. Good. We're just gonna wait for the radio broadcast. I'm really hoping it does not say air activity today, because we are unprepared. I don't think we're due for a helicopter. I think it has been somewhat recently you've had one. But I don't think we're terribly far from being due either. Okay, so we should be past the storm at this point, because this afternoon is when it stopped. Alright, good. We don't have air activity detected. Maybe I do one more haul of lumber. Just get her a bunch of nails. Then we go in, start reading our Mechanic Intermediates book. And hopefully we'll be getting close to sleepy by time then, to start our next day of the push into the country club again. And I am debating detouring on the country club to just drive around, see if we can't find ourselves in our large backpack. We'll see. If that seems to make sense, we'll do it. If it doesn't, we'll back off. I'm not seeing any more logs. Alright. Oh wait, never mind, we've got a big stack of planks down there. That's right. We'll grab those. The number of emotes Whistlebeak has in their arsenal is fantastic. It was on my to-do list today, and it was one of the things that unfortunately did not get to done, was to commission the next set of emotes for the channel. Because I gotta actually, like, I usually drop, like, very rough ideas, that way, you know, when I talk to the artists, like, this is what I want. Like, and my art isn't terrible. I actually used to be an art major before I switched over to computer science and electrical engineering and all that. But, I am nowhere up to practice when it comes to computer graphics and all that. So I can very, very clearly convey what I want, but not execute on a quality that would be appropriate. Oh, that is a lot of way too animated emotes. The amount of energy in those emotes. Fun fact in the game you may not realize, your resistance to temperature decreases as you get sleepy, which is a weird thing that doesn't seem intuitive, but I think it's sleepy. Might be hunger. I think it's sleepy. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Was big saying the only art I do is cooking related or spaceships of Avorion. I mean, cooking is delicious art. Okay, is there anything that's marked as not fresh anymore? Nope. Okay, so I'm not gonna grab all the fish because I didn't realize I was sitting on, like, literally hundreds of fish here. I mean, not actually literally hundreds of fish, it's more like 50 fish, but still. A hell of a lot of fish. So there's 10 fish fillets. We have read our book, so fire time. Wispeak says, I guess people have been telling me that I also have a knack for building stuff in games. Whether that's true or not depends on the beholder. Well, that's also true of all art. you know, one group of people sit there and say, this art is the most amazing thing I've seen. Other people be like, this is not art. And you'll be like, but it is. Just don't let people, you know, kind of get into those discussions because it's like, you know what? It's art. Deal with it. Alright, they're not frozen anymore. Function comes first, though, or Wispeak says, function comes first, though, unless you can spare a bit of efficiency for a very inspiring design. You're not wrong. Like, don't get me wrong, art is... Oh, I'm too close to that. Okay, so one of the fillets is getting stale. That's expected. I'm expecting a lot of these to start going stale, which is why we're plowing through them now, is to try and, one, keep our weight from dropping too low, and then two, it seems like the fish don't have long left, so I'm trying to get what mileage I can out of them before they go bad. Wisby says, otherwise, all I'd make would be box or circular houses. Yeah. They're the easiest to deal with. Like, that's one of the ones that's kind of a joke when I'm doing, like, stuff I build in Terraria, as opposed to, like, stuff I build in City Skylines. If you see the houses I build in Terraria, it's like, the joke I mean, nowadays with the, Journey's End update, where they actually make you want to spread your people out in different areas and all that, it's a little different. But before that, the joke was you'd give them square prisons, where it's just this box with like the minimal size room with just like the necessities, and you'd just have a grid of those with hallways to go up and down. And you know, you might add some like paintings or trophies or stuff as you find them, but it is absolutely like a depressing thing.